Hello, lovely gentlemen, lovely gentlemen. How are you? Yes, going to talk to you about something particularly interesting today. I've done a couple of YouTubes already about vehicles, cars. In other words, we are kind of like cocoons. We cocoon at home, around our desktop, around our laptops, in home environments. We move around in mobile devices, which are typically on us, like prisoner tags, keeping us in contact with everything. And of course, all the rules regarding to smart, as I've mentioned before. And then there's vehicles, cars, and particularly in this environment of new wave cars, thinking Tesla, the flagship of electric and hybrid cars. There is a growing, and this is going to affect all car makers, by the way, a growing tendency towards data tracking being shared. Interesting article that's come out, I'm sharing with one of my community members, and that states that when a certain individual, Mr. Shan Jun Han, bought his white Tesla Model X, he knew it was a beautiful and fast car. What he didn't know is that Tesla constantly sends information about the precise location of his car to the Chinese government. The Chinese government. And this is, of course, an out and out admitted communist government, an oligarchical communism, whereas a sort of family of rule that come in. By the way, if you come in just online, let's get us get in the chat, give us some likes, come in and join us, and hit us up the queue so that we do more of these go lives. By the way, get the mic nice and in closer. So what's actually happening is China is kind of the new feeling stick for the surveillance states and the major over race. Thanks, Luke. Hey, how are you? Admin, nice cap, sir. Indeed. Oh, it's been the grey. It's winter season. Yeah. So what's actually happening is China is almost the outrider. It's the front runner on various activities. You may remember also recently we had something about social score, social scores coming out in China. How you behave determines whether you're a good citizen or a bad citizen, and is now tied to actually getting borrowing certain privileges. So in actually, it's kind of like being at school and the teacher says you're a good boy and you get a gold star, and you've been bad, no star for you. You do not get to go to have lunch. You can't play with the nice toys. And this is very much coming through now with submitting entirely to big data and allowing government to have absolutely everything surrounding your activities. And here you have this new wave, saving the planet cars, Mr. Feel Good, get all the Hollywood movie stars in there, make it trendy, make it cool. You know, like Nunu, the Israeli clothing company that does gender neutral clothes for babies, this sort of stuff. And all the little Angelina Jolies and all of these all go Nunu. And now you have the Canadian singer from Titanic. What's her name again? One of you guys will help me. She's the big speaking voice for Nunu. And what you actually get is a combination of supposedly established cool people through a Hollywood movie environment that actually push the masses into a new trend. And there's an underlying dark state benefit in this new trend. Teslas are cool. You're saving the planet. Go and do that. Go and be cool. Loving the EOS posts. The guys are still hodling their EOS. And what then means is they get you into the cool Tesla, and then they have you on the higher level of battery driven. The powerful thing about a very big battery driven car is that they can check how much energy you've got. They can drive all sorts of, like a big mobile phone with a battery extender on it. They can be pinging data back all the time. It's a little more tricky on an internal combustion engine that drives a catalytic converter that keeps recharging a much smaller battery that's designed to be light, just enough to get you through starting your engine and running your headlights. So the new thing is, wow, get into a Tesla and submit to a full cage around you that is one big tracking device. They're even having windshield microchips that they're using for detecting. So when you apply the Hunt's rule of smart, it's all about they want to surveillance you and they want to capture everything they can. So surveillance is watching, monitoring, so they can actually check individual activities, where you're stopping, where you're going, where you say your address is, where you park your car, cross verification for any deviances or inconsistencies. Then you have the annuitization of income. This is the A. That is, in that windscreen, that microchip, oh, you're going to get pinged for road use. You did X hundred yards down that particular road. It's a very busy road. You did it in peak season because you have to go to work and you were on the road between 7:30 and 9:30. So you're paying a 2x rate for covering that 1.5 miles. And this is annuitized extraction. Annuitized extraction. No longer can you pay once for something. Our tax money in most our road systems have been paid for a long time ago in terms of our tax. Most of it would have been put on debt, even though you were paying the money, and just served as interest to be as annuitized income for the banks. But now the governments are getting annuitized income out of you. They are the R, rental extractors. Rental extractors. So you get annuitized income, which can be any form of annuitized income, and then rental extracting on an ongoing basis for road use. This is all coming on roads that have existed since year vomit, that haven't had a resurfacing in 30 years. You're going to have to be a pay for use. And then if anyone says, but this is a tax, and why are you doing it? And the road's not even in new condition, it hasn't been resurfaced in a couple of decades, and it was paid for originally by my father and my father's father and my mother and my mother's mother, and all that you taxed them for way back then. It'll be a case of, well, we're collecting a fund so that we can do further new road building so that you can have better roads for the future. And it's kind of like that pension fund, that state pension that they supposedly collecting for you. Actually, there's nothing there. They've established a liability that they owe you at some point some money, and they're going to rely on what they get to extract out of future generations and the people younger than you. And in the meantime, they're taking all that money, paying an tertiary interest rate on collateralized debt that they've created, that they've been granted to the banks, usually the central banks and the primary dealers, who make an absolute fortune by rolling over this tertiary extraction scheme. And then you get into a situation where you are actually just existing to pay interest. Your tax are just paying interest. Right now in the States, the entire revenue of tax receipts barely covers interest payments and defense spending and existing commitments to Medicaid and Medicare. You don't cover all that. Everything else that they do is unfunded and is all debt funded. So this is future interest rates for everything else. So yep, indeed. So watch out. Watch out. The cars are coming. So here's a prediction for you. Old cars, old, solid, good running cars that do not have the embedded tech that's going to come with this new wave of super cool. Some of them will be driverless, even park for you initially, until they're eventually doing the whole shooting match, and you'll sit there like a drone in your front seat, like you're in the pew at a church. But for now, you'll get partial aspects. They're going to phase it in so that you slowly get used to doing less and less. And the tech grows under it. What's going to end up happening is you're going to be totally tracked. So the older cars will get away for a while. So there's going to be a much better interest in the old tech cars that are untracked for a while, until they squeeze you out because it's a diesel engine, because it's later a petrol engine and is releasing too much carbon, or they up the taxes and they eventually force everyone out of it. And then they oblige you to take the car into a garage where the government is having fitted windshields with microchips, and they end up tracking even retrospective cars that are no longer current. So the control structure is going full-blown Monty. It's going full-blown Monty into getting into your cars as well. And Tesla morals or no morals, has rolled over for the Chinese government, all the big corporatocracies, so that they can do business in these parasitic state-based enterprises will all roll over, and quite willingly so. They're encouraged to do so, and they support the surveillance state. They are, by definition and extension, they are oligopoly corporates. They're not little SMEs that grew up from being a small business into being a medium enterprise and then became a big enterprise. They just exploded into big enterprises. You had the rather suspect PayPal, which has become an online financial extractor, almost the blockchain payment mechanism that has now expanded and expanded. They got their money, Mr. Elon Musk and the rest of them, and then they've thrown it into getting into space and these tech cars, and he's losing so much money, but he has a bank that never seems to call him in. This is very much like Trump, who was held up by the Rockefellers, Chase Manhattan Bank, when he lost in the property bubble, huge money, and he was just kept afloat by his bank. And the story when I was young was sold that, no, he negotiated with the bank. You have to keep me in good standing and looking the business, otherwise you're going to lose money. You know, or the old adage, like, if I owe bank 10 grand, I've got a problem. If I owe them 10 million, they've got the problem. That kind of narrative, they kind of sold us that story. But in actual fact, he was going to have to pay favors back to the Rockefellers. And in fact, David Rockefeller was head of Chase Bank at the time. And he's just an asset. And this is the same suspicion I have around Musk. Whose cash burning to kingdom come. You get sensible people like Stanley Druckenmiller that says you can't burn that amount of cash at that rate and be valued more than Ford or other companies that are actually producing and delivering cars. Yes, you're the new thing, and that will grow in time in a sort of Amazon sense, but you're just burning way too much. Well, he's been propped up. They're printing the money and they're keeping him in business. And he's serving the state. He's serving the parasitic state by, hire cars, great idea. So Sag Kanani says, be an intrepid, hire a car for short-term use when required. Aim not to own a vehicle, have a bicycle, leave your phone at home. You're going to have to do a lot of things. What else are you guys saying? Social control. This is how they'll control everyone. Glad you're on live. I look forward to hearing your views on the economy. Yes, economy, we'll talk more about that. This is just surveillance and cars, and I will do more of these, particularly as we grow this particular channel. I want to do more. In fact, we're doing a webinar tonight. If those of you that are trader orientated, it's not for everyone. Free view on 1900 UTC and GMT time. So they are synced. If you want to come in, go to themarketsniper.com to register for that. If you're interested in trading, what I think will be the great short. So we're going to have a major asset boom. How does everyone end up part of this technological, oligarchical, communist owned state where we are all giving all our information, all our data? We're told how good a citizen we are, what we can do with the amount of points we've been awarded for our goodness and tax paid, etc. All of these things, the way they're coming in is they need to orchestrate the Great Reset, which is the next big financial move that is coming. And it will be brutal. It will be brutal, and we're likely to have a significant smashdown in general. And how do they do it? Well, the hedge funds will come and buy up all the properties real cheap from the banks. They'll bail out the banks. The hedge funds will get the nod and the wink from the right government official. The right government officials will also now be in banking, having never done anything financial in their life before, and they'll be picking up at auctions with a huge credit line as long as the circumference of the earth. And next thing you know, we'll all be renting in this realm. So I would certainly say now's not a time to have debt. The way they're going to shake everybody out is going to be utilizing the debt. They could spike the interest rates and everyone can die. So the less you owe to government, the better. And even if you don't owe to governments, but everyone else gets murdered because they're on debt, don't expect anyone to be buying anything at your shop, coming down to your pub and buying a beer, coming to your coffee shop to order a coffee, or your hardware store to order tools, because they're all going to be bankrupted and skinned. And that's the great fear that they can do. So even those that have seen this coming and have protected themselves are in a community, global, worldwide village where the net downforce on everyone is going to see no new net income earned for a while if they do this properly, as I fear they might. So watch out for the great big reset. It is still on its way, and surveillance, monitoring, annuitization, rental extraction, it is all coming, and it's part of the way. And you will have to, every time you move, do, or anything, you will have to pay to state, even on assets that are state assets, that have been state assets for many years and have long gone been paid to. So yeah, that's my quick check-in with you. I think I'm going to pop over maybe to the Crypto Sniper side and just do a quick look at the coins as well. Do a small chat to you about what I'm seeing at the moment and my take for those that have interest in there. And for the rest of you who like trading the traditional markets, you can also come and pop and see us tonight at 7 o'clock on the webinar. It's shortest season. How to not only make money in bull markets when everyone's making money, think Bitcoin back end of last year, but how actually you can develop and build wealth even in an environment when markets are falling and most others are losing theirs. That is one of the most powerful things, because then in relative wealth terms, you have got lots of ammo when other people are having to get into cash and download and sell assets and being forced liquidators. And that's the sign of a real trader. Yes, so nice to check in with you. Thanks, Sug Kanani. Nice to speak with you as well. Brilliant live. Thanks for the update. I'm in total agreement with the great reset coming. It's a false economy. Have a great evening. See you all soon. And I'll probably be broadcasting on the other channels for a short chat in terms of topics that are relevant for there, including the market, sniper, and the general economy. Speak to you guys later, and thanks for checking in.